What is up, guys? Jared here with a review slash impression of Cyberpunk 2077 on PlayStation 4. So, before I begin sort of reviewing this game and giving my thoughts on it after playing 60 hours of it on the PlayStation 4, there's a couple things that I wanted to address. First, I am more supportive of this game because so many people have been so harsh and so quick to judge, which I understand. At the same time, this is what happens when people allow to get too hyped for a game. Because at the end of the day, it's still just a game. And because people are impatient and because everyone has access to information through the internet, instead of just allowing a game to be a complete surprise to you outside of knowing the basic plot and genre of the game, people want leaks. They want to know all the behind the scenes stuff, everything about the game. And the problem with that is when a company like CD Project Red Hat, that's always a mouthful, CDPR, do what they did, and every time they start working on a feature, talk about it, and then end up taking it out, it's going to cause this kind of backlash. I think they should take a page from Bethesda's book and Todd Howard, who, if he could, would announce on a Monday that Friday that the next Elder Scrolls is coming out. I like that they don't give a lot of information because you find out and get to explore the game and the mechanics and the story and the characters so much more than you would if you know half of what's going to happen anyway. I was born in '83. I grew up as a kid and as a early teenage years. You saw a movie trailer at the movies and maybe on TV. There weren't leaks. It was the same with video games. You could only learn so much ahead of time. And I think the gaming industry was better for that because companies didn't have the ability to hype up games like they do now. I also finally watched the video that a lot of people are complaining about, which is the one that shows all these features that changed or were removed. But there is a point in the video where the narrator clearly says that some of these things might be changed or removed from the final product. So even though it's sort of an asterisk underwriting type of move, they're still telling you maybe this stuff won't be in here, and a lot of it got cut. And I would say it's more on the studio execs. I think that a lot of AAA gaming companies, especially when they have the success that CDPR did with the Wild Hunt, that they just start seeing green dollar signs and really put the devs through hell. And this year I really think that a lot of companies should have just not released games because they weren't able to really complete them. Another prime example is EA and Madden, but I don't even want to begin to get on that soapbox. So what I'm trying to say is I'm not going to address all the controversy surrounding it. I just want to talk about the game, but I do have I'm trying to give sort of a message to some of you people who are so disappointed by it. Stop trying to learn everything about a game before it comes out. Just know that it's coming out and wait for it to come out and play it then. I think a lot of people, had they not, from day one been so in love with this game without knowing anything about it, really, other than the basic concepts and ideas of what the game is trying to do and be, then after 8 years, you wouldn't have been so disappointed, and I don't think it would have had quite the backlash. It still would have had backlash. Look, let's be honest, the game was really glitchy and buggy. But since the last patch that came out a few weeks ago, I haven't had anything crazy happen. There are glitches and bugs and pop-ins, and there are times when I have to back in and out of the menu for different reasons, but only once has the game actually frozen on me. It hasn't crashed. I haven't lost save files. I have been able to every time power it on and play it without any major issues. So also, the second point I want to make before I get started is that to all the people that are claiming that it's unplayable on PS4, either haven't played it since the patch or just haven't played it on PS4 at all. So I don't know what they're basing these opinions on, and I'm not saying that people are lying, and I'm not saying that there aren't people like me that have put in 50, 60 plus hours and had a lot of problems, but me personally, like I said, there's only been like once really where the game froze and I had to restart it. Otherwise, I've been able to progress through all the missions, all the side quests, all the gigs, and there are some things that were problems early on that I don't think are as bad now. Now, could it perform better? Oh yeah. Is it still playable and completely addictive? Yes. So with that being said, I do recommend this game. I'm gonna start by once again reminding you I'm playing this on PS4, not PS5, not an Xbox Series X, not a PC, a PlayStation 4. Apparently the worst way to play this game. And if I enjoy it this much, then a lot of you I think need to try and give it another chance. Because I do think that because of the dual entitlement, that because you'll be able to play it on the current next gen when you finally get it, that it'll be more than worth it. And I'm looking forward to seeing the difference between the game on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. So, on with the review. The negatives. The police wanted system is really weird and missing a lot of content. I think initially you could have been arrested and escaped out of the back of the police car or gone for a ride in it, maybe had more interactions with corrupt police, and probably not had them just magically spawn out of thin air. So that's a little weird, and it's just too easy to get. You literally can go to the other side of a building or like up the street a block or two, and then you're done. So it's nice. I always liked the wanted system in Grand Theft Auto because there are times when like, all right, if I do this way, I'm going to probably have the police after me. But that can also be a lot of fun. But because it's not like impossible to lose the police, it's actually really easy. It just doesn't bother me that much. It's just disappointing. The other kind of disappointing aspect, I think, is the majority of the NPCs that just seem to spawn and don't really do anything but just kind of populate. Because there are a lot of NPCs that you see that you can talk to that will have a couple sayings that'll be doing something very unique. They'll be on a phone or a tablet or talking to another NPC, and it's fun to listen to those conversations. You can watch like news broadcasts, and there's a channel that just has ads. Some of the ads are funny. That stuff is really neat. So it's weird because there are certain elements of the NPCs and of the world that really make it feel alive, but ultimately because of issues like that and like the traffic and the way cars just kind of are driving around, but people aren't parking and getting in and out, and they're not really going anywhere. They're like a lot of the other NPCs. They're just there to populate the world. So ultimately it kind of kills the immersion a little bit overall. But on the flip side, Night City is amazing. I love exploring it. I love the aesthetic. I love the look and feel. I love the different areas. It's great. Another thing that I don't really like is with the inventory, how you can't see what clothes look like until you buy them and equip them. This is a little frustrating because I've had where an item looks cool and then I put it on and I'm like, this is garbage. And then I've had something that looks really drab and bland and uninteresting, and then I put it on and it's completely badass. So it's really hit or miss. But that's a little frustrating. And then the map can be a little overwhelming. I think the one thing about the map I don't like is that you can't filter it. Just like I wish the mini map, like Grand Theft Auto, would have, where you could zoom in or out. It is really frustrating when you miss multiple turns headed somewhere because the map is so small that the turns just pop up on you. And lastly, I would say probably the glitches and bugs. In particular, the one that I really can't stand that happens every 1 in 3 playthroughs for 10 to 20 minutes. It's not the whole time, but it just seems to stop. Is my vertical axis. V will just constantly look up, and you have to keep pulling, pushing down on the stick and pulling his head down. And if you're in combat or trying to quick hack, it's very annoying. There are some pop-in things. I've been on like a motorcycle and sped into an area, and then was actually a barricade there, and it pops in after, and then my vehicle's stuck. Of course, you can just climb over the barricade and call your car again, but it's just kind of funny that you can be faster than the actual, the game itself, and things will pop in after. Sometimes faces look really weird. I called my bike once and it like did a flip and then landed on its tires. So there are some weird things, but they're kind of funny. And they are immersion breaking, but they're not game breaking. So yes, the performance could be much better, but it's still playable and I enjoy it. And hasn't been a lot of games like this to come out. And I think the open world, RPGs are getting a little stale and too action oriented. So, to go into the positives, the writing in this game is great. I like all the quests and side quests and gigs I've done so far. Yes, the assaults are just you taking out a gang. I do like the organized crime activities because they all have kind of these different little backstories that aren't too like crazy varied, but they're interesting enough. I like a lot of the quests so far. I haven't had any like the fetch, like go get this and come back here. You do get things and people for clients and fixers, but they all feel a little different in some way. And a lot of the missions within the mission do have a lot of options for how you handle it. And sometimes even at the end of a mission you might have two options, but you can only choose one because your skill isn't high enough. So there is, I think, replay value in that. I just don't think there's as much of a ripple effect from your choices throughout the world. The gunplay isn't bad. I do like a lot of the equipment and the way it looks and the way you can take an item that's like epic, but maybe it's only got, I've got a shotgun that's 225, but it's epic, so I've held on to it. But I currently have a Carnage that's like 294 damage. But I can upgrade the shotgun, the Dying Knight pistol you get, you can keep upgrading it to a higher level and make it better. So if you really like a gun, you don't have to get rid of it because it's not powerful enough, because you can upgrade it or make it, an epic or legendary weapon. So I do mostly like the crafting system. And looting is a lot of fun. There's just a lot of items. And then, of course, the different outfits. I've had 2 or 3 different kind of looks going on, but I do enjoy, a lot of the gas masks and face masks and just the gear and stuff is pretty cool. Exploration's great, and I haven't gotten into the main quest much, but so far I like the story, and I do want to address the length. I know it's about a 25-hour main quest, and a lot of people are complaining that's too short, but I haven't touched any of the main quests after Jackie's funeral, and I've put 60 hours in this game and could put another 60 easily and never touch the side quest. So there is so much to do, and it's frustrating because this is the kind of thing, it's one thing to complain about the bugs and glitches and performance, but the same people that are saying it's short, a lot of them were the same people that complained that the main quest in The Witcher was too long. So they shortened it, which I don't have a problem with, but it's just funny that people are, at that point, you're just complaining about something to complain about something. So overall, I do really like this game. I think I would give it about a 7.5 at most out of 10, and I think like No Man's Sky in about a year or so from now, when most of us are playing it on PC or the next generation consoles and they've added some things back and fixed the game, I think we'll look back and it'll be a much better game than what we remember it being at launch. But I'm right now advocating for it to just give it a chance. It is a good game. It's very addictive. I love playing it. I'm able to look past a lot of the flaws and the glitches and bugs because I know that at the end of the day it's going to end up being a really great game down the road. So that's my review and my thoughts and opinions on Cyberpunk 2077 so far. Please subscribe. If you aren't, smash the like button. If you disagree with everything I said, then smash the dislike button. Comment below. Tell me what you think. If you're playing it on PS4 or the old Xbox, let me know how it's performing for you. If you've had a completely different experience, I want to know, because I do find sometimes that games play differently for different people. I also have a refurbished PS4, so I don't know if that helps it run a little better, but like I said, it's still playable to me. So I'm Jared, and I'm out.